So this is kind of like a little special edition thing. It's a two-part thing. I mean, I don't know. I put all these books here because they're written by my brother, Obert Skye, and his real name is Rob. But his pen name when he writes for young readers is Obert Skye. And he has sold like millions of copies of his series, like even just of that series right there, 11 Thumbs. He has series that aren't on this. He has, there's other books that aren't here as well. He's got a lot. His books have been translated into so many languages and stuff. He's got like a storage closet at his house that's just incredible, full of all these different copies from other languages and stuff. It's amazing. People have tattooed his characters on them. They dress up as them for Halloween sometimes. It happened at my kid's school one time. That guy climbed Trump Tower with one of my brother's characters' names, 11 Thumbs. What? That was a weird news story. But he's my cool older brother, and he's always been a part of like my music and literary life. And is a super interesting person. I'm number 6 of 7, family of 7. And let's see, Rob was like 4th. I was 6th. And there's a big gap between the 5 oldest kids and the 2 youngest. But so that meant I had like 5 older advisors as I grew up, And I'll show you something funny. I highly suspect this character, this wizard in here, is based on me. He's a divorced, eccentric dad, obsessed with great things. And I felt very referenced, not in an insulting way, but it's possible. This is a cool series where all the different creatures get mixed together because some sort of chemistry kit accident. Creature from Classic Cabbages is Katniss Everdeen and the Little Mermaid, Willy Wonka and Frankenstein, Ebenezer Scrooge and Batman, weird. Chewbacca and Harry Potter, funny. Gollum and the Cat in the Hat, that's funny. Dracula and Pinocchio. These are funny ideas. Rob is a really imaginative person. This Foo book, which is kind of like Fantasia meets what? It's really its own thing. It's really interesting. And the arc of the main character is super interesting. And there's some great characters. Like there's this character named Geth, and he's literally a toothpick. This is also a toothpick, an evil toothpick named Ezra. And it makes total sense in the world of the story. This king gets turned into a seed that becomes a tree, and the tree gets cut down and turned into toothpicks, and the heart of the tree is in some of these toothpicks. A ton of great characters in this series. Clover is this little cat-like creature with a pouch that can hold anything on his robe, and he can turn invisible. Great character and great creature. Beautiful covers on those 11 Thumbs. I helped edit this one. And I helped edit this one. That's a great cover too. Crazy. That's the best cover. I love that cover. That's cool. And that series. The 11 Thumbs series is great. It's been optioned to be movies many times, but never been picked up. Oh, I'm talking about my brother now because I talked to him on the phone yesterday. This is kind of Rob's take on Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew, that Marvel comic from the 70s. Mixes visuals with... These came out right when my kids were like growing out of me reading to them. So I didn't read those as much. But we read these. Witherwood is really cool. I swear I dreamed this story. In this story, there's like these weird creatures walking around the grounds all the time. And it's described in a certain way. And I recently found like all these dreams that I'd written down in 1999. And one of them was like this story, so eerily similar. I'm like, what? We tuned into the same wavelength about some strange imaginative thing. And it's set in a Los Alamos type setting, like a city on a mesa. These are cool. These series are very underrated. This series is very underrated. Pretty good covers too. Rob discovered a really great way to do book promotion. He'd go to a town. It's a side book for the 11 Thumbs. But these are my favorite of my brother's books right here. This Dragon trilogy. Man, they are so cool. They're for younger readers, but they're great stories. And I would love to see a big budget movie of these movies. Really interesting. It's like basically The Secret Garden, but in the garden they have these like stony dragon eggs. And they raise dragons. And It's it's super cool. And the star of the series really is this amazing house that's full of tunnels and passages and stuff, loosely based on the house that my older brother and I got to live in for 3 years in Austria when we were kids. Him a teenager and me a little kid. So anyway, Obert Skye. Check his books out if you have young readers. They're very imaginative and cool and little known. Sometimes there's just they are known, but they just always have kind of hovered right under that New York Times line, and they've never had an adaptation. Like I said, Levin Thompson's been optioned before. Maybe Pillage has too, but somebody that owns a lot of IP should snatch up that Creature from My Closet series, because that's a gold mine right there. Combine all your characters, people will love it. But the reason I bring this up is I recently wrote a writing handbook, and my brother read it, and he thinks I should cut the visuals out of it. I want to show you all and see if you agree, because I do not want to cut the visuals out of this thing. I don't think I will. All right, here it is. Good Rules for Good Writing by me. And I think the visuals add a lot to it. They force people to slow down. This is the introduction. This is like suggestive of a wilderness that the reader must pass through to gain wisdom. Sorry, the finger was in the picture. And this is the beginning of, okay, this page is kind of cool. It's got all the rules that come up, one to an entry put together into the single brick. They fit in there. It's kind of cool. So by the end of it, you'll hear each rule 3 times. And then this is what the rules look like. What like. Avoid the familiar. Waste no words. When in doubt, shout it out. Let your darlings live. Let your elements echo. Let your every element develop. Collaborate with your subconscious. Think in infinite prisms. Collaborate with your past. And strong. Move toward compassion and away from judgment. Ask yourself, how can I do that in writing? Move towards specificity. Connect every part with every other part. And so on. But I think the visuals add a lot. And they're on the left side for the first half of the book. The whole book is kind of built with visuals in mind. It has exactly 50% pages of visuals and 50% pages of text. Precisely. Oh, here's the middle of it, where we're still passing through a wilderness, but there's light. And then here is the next, the titles of all the next section. They're put together, and it's kind of artful to see them in this new context and interesting. And then now the visuals are on the right. And the visuals are in there to make people slow down. My brother's like, it's from a different project. People just want writing advice. They don't want to have to see someone's art book. And I'm like, well, I think they're very connected to the entries. They share motifs. They're not like one-to-one specifically connected, but like, for instance, I talk about thinking in prisms and considering all these different facets, and then I have like visuals of things reflected in puddles, kind of like that. And I have motifs, towers, lights, empty lots, empty roads, shadows. I freaking love it. I'd rather just not publish it than gut this thing, I think, personally. I'll sit on this till I get famous. And then ends with more wilderness, an outro, and an index. Here's the kind of far-out advice I give. Think in infinite prisms. Think fractally. Think in endless levels. Maybe my favorite postmodern insight is that in our big shared story, the one story, the only story, the story of what is, the story of everything, there is no main character or one way of viewing reality. You are you, but also a universe of microscopic life and quantum activity. You are you, but also just your genes. You are you, but also an infinitesimal shred of near infinitely larger stories of Earth, life, carbon, time, and space. Your life is your life, but it contains and is in infinite patterns and repetitions. Many of my favorite books recognize this, making their characters exist in a world, making readers feel they could leave the story as if in a lucid dream, heading off in whatever direction. Writing nonfiction, I feel this approach especially strongly, considering nonfiction the ultimate mythology, comprising even all fiction and all art, as literally all that was written or created by characters in the nonfiction literary universe. And give a world enough details, and readers will find their their place within it, giving them an added level of connection to your story and to you. Far out, man. That's kind of groovy advice I can dig. Oh, and I just got my internet set up, so I may never read anything ever again. All right. Anyway, it's been real. See y'all.